oftentimes when people talk about what makes them willing to be anxious, it starts out as like, I just want relief from what I'm experiencing. So my main value is my health and relief from this suffering. Other values that people often lean on are like commitment to their family or their work or some other part of their life that's being impaired by having so much anxiety. It can also be values like courage or compassion that keep people going and help them maintain hope. What you just said, Larissa, around getting excited about things that you wouldn't be excited for if you were anxious is a really nice benefit of the therapeutic attitude of willing acceptance, that you weren't just willing to be anxious in the moment that you were anxious, in the moment that you were doing something that was uncertain and challenging, but you were also willing to stay with yourself through the full process, so that now for the same thing in the future, it's not like, oh no, I'm going to be anxious again, I've got to well up this like opportunity mindset, but rather you actually want to do that behavior. And now if you're confident that you can handle any anxiety that comes with it, then you actually get to experience the excitement of doing things that you want to be doing. Do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, I would say that I agree with that. And I kind of had I finally arrived at that kind of thinking with when was thinking about internal triggers. And at first I thought, well, I don't know what my internal triggers are other than, that the intrusive thoughts. But I had a situation the other day, and I can tell you about it if you want to hear about it.
Yeah.
I just woke up the other day, and well, actually, it was the day after I saw my sister, and so I'm sure I still had all of that underneath unsettling. But I woke up and I just felt really uneasy, and the minute I felt uneasy, I thought, wow, and there was no particular reason, but it caused that whoosh of anxiety, and then I started thinking, okay, why is this happening? What's wrong? I did something wrong. And it just really started getting to be very intrusive, my thinking. And then you talked about in your most recent newsletter about getting to that place of feeling discouraged and hopeless. And I didn't feel hopeless, but I did experience, all of a sudden I had all this guilt come over me that like my great niece really wants to come spend the night and bring a friend and have a sleepover. And we used to do that. Well, I started feeling guilty that I'm not doing that, or I'm not spending enough time with our grandkids. We should be doing more of that. And I really was feeling a lot of guilt about it. And the truth is, even with COVID, we do try to spend time with them. So I had to really work that through, and just looking at mine, but I had to really try to work it through. But I came to the point of thinking, okay, maybe right now I was feeling some shame and fear, like, okay, we'll do something. We'll spend some more time. But then right away, the doubt and uncertainty, like, well, if we do more than we're doing, we're going to be at risk. And then I got back, the guilt came back. But what finally happened is I had to sit with it, and I did my meditation, and I thought, okay, this is going to pass. We're getting closer to a vaccine. Time, it's going to change. And I started making plans of fun things we can do, like even get a basketball hoop put it in the front, and get some fun things for when the kids to come over. They can have more fun, So I felt like that intrusive thought, I worked it through, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you had an internal trigger. It gave you the feeling of anxiety and of guilt, but rather than fearing that and taking that into like, why is this happening? What does it mean? How long am I going to feel it? You just got curious about the values underneath your guilt and your anxiety, and connecting your values of like commitment to family and being connected with your family, you were able to like come up with a flexible and creative way to implement that value at another time. So rather than getting bogged down by guilt and anxiety about not being the person that you think you should be, you just shifted it towards like, okay, how can I show up for my family in these coming months? Which, yeah, that's a great way to work through an internal trigger like that. It seems like if you were afraid of the anxiety in the first place, you might not have been able to stay with it long enough to come up with a creative solution.